Welcome back to the Purse Chronicles, everybody.
Woo! We're back.
We're so excited to be starting season 2 of the Purse Chronicles. And if you missed it, go back and listen to season 1. We have a whole bunch of great episodes available for you on iTunes.
Yes.
And so today, ladies, as we kick off season number 2, our first episode of season 2, I'm your host, Julie Lee, here with my other hosts,
Julie.
It's V again.
What are we pulling out of our purses?
Whoa, what are we pulling out our purses?
We are going to talk about what's holding you back.
From our success.
From our success, from our personal lives, what is holding you back?
Yeah.
And the topic came up because as we're starting to end this year, looking towards the new year, people are starting to make those resolutions and thinking about the future.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we get stuck in where we are, trying to figure out where we want to go and how to get there.
Yeah.
And sometimes while the roadmap in your mind is one thing, how do you actually start to make it happen? And what is holding you back from taking that first step to where you may be trying to go?
I mean, you may even limit yourself in your own goals because something's holding you back and you're not even identifying truly what you want to be doing or achieving because you're afraid of something.
True.
So even if you're going to make your resolutions and your goals for the next year, they may not even truly represent what you want because something's holding you back.
Yeah, I think that it's very important to just make peace with yourself and say it's okay if I didn't accomplish something. Because you can't get that back. You won't be able to get it back, okay? Don't beat yourself up. So give yourself some time, give yourself a break, give yourself a pass. Julie, you say that all the time. And allow yourself to start something new and fresh.
Because what if you failed once? You might be afraid to try again.
Absolutely.
That could be holding you back.
Yeah, and I always say nothing beats a failure but a try. So at least you tried, and that's the bigger success to me.
And don't y'all think sometimes maybe outside forces influence
Yes.
the reservations or the hesitancy
Yes.
in taking the next step? And outside forces could be your family. It could be financial. It could be fear.
What would the neighbors think?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
what if I put it out there? What if I try and I fail? And how will people look at me? How will they judge me? How will they view me? Or even if I don't fail, what if what I want to put out there, people might have an opinion about me that I don't want them to have? What if I want to start a cooking blog and I'm afraid that people will judge me for it because the food I'll be preparing isn't Pinterest worthy? What will people say?
The fear of the unknown. A lot of people are afraid of, well, this might happen and that might happen and this may happen, but you really never know until you try something. And I don't think that fear should dictate your actions.
Well, I feel like we tell ourselves a story and then we believe that story. So I used to tell myself a story as a business owner that the only way to be respected was to be conservative and to dress conservatively and be very PC, and that was the path to success. I mean, and that worked for a while. I did just fine. And then in this last 12 months, I decided to get a little edgy and assertive with my marketing and presenting myself. And when I did it, there was a part of me that what was holding me back was, oh my gosh, what could people think? Will this drive some people away? But I reconciled it with, this is who I am and the sort of coach I am. And if it doesn't draw certain people in, it just meant they weren't the client for me,
Right.
the right audience. And that's okay.
Yes. Yes. And did you find that you overcame some of that fear with positive results or just seeing yourself differently? Like, damn, I did this.
So I did it. And then I couldn't even, just when I thought I couldn't be more successful, I blew up even more so. Now, I did get a letter criticizing the media images that I put out. So I did get a letter from the opposite gender that had an opinion that I wasn't going to get business. And I leveraged that moment to draw my inner strength and stand in my ground even more firm, that I'm okay that that doesn't bring in everybody. I'm not the coach for everybody.
Yeah.
And
Thank you very much for your opinion. And next.
it was a great response. I was very proud of myself on not only how I responded back to him, but really how I responded back in my heart.
Yeah. And so maybe you've moved on and matured as a professional to not be so stuck in that box of, I have to be conservative, or I
Right.
have to, do this image, being your authentic self. Because if you're not you, they're not going to hire you to coach them anyway. You got to be you.
I have communicated with people over the years. I don't know why. Like, I'm like, okay, what do you think of this, Shivanka? What do you think of this, V? And the one thing that I tell individuals, what value are you going to put on that? What value does that individual have to you? Because if a person doesn't have, if you give someone too much value, then they take control over who you are
Right.
as an individual.
Right.
So I have learned to look and I've learned to evaluate what someone gives me and the way they communicate with me and say, well, if that's something that's hurting me, if that's something that's not positive or even a positive delivery to me, then I no longer give them that value, because if I continue giving them that value, they're going to be able to affect me and control my actions.
And so maybe that's part of the fear of what holds some people back is other people's opinions,
Yeah.
right? The feedback that you're going to get that might not be so nice, because you have to be ready for that. Just like you're saying, if you want to start a cooking blog, okay, putting yourself out there in any way is scary.
Yes.
Deep down, it's just, you've got to be ready for what's going to come or what could come that might not be so nice and might not be so positive.
I have to say this, redundance bleeds familiarity. That means if you keep putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, you're going to learn how to deal with those things. I was just in a situation last night on business, and I'm so used to being in an uncomfortable situation and not knowing what the outcome's going to be, that I prepared properly. I did my research, and I took control over what I want the end result to look like. And that's all I can do is control my actions. So until you get comfortable with being in uncomfortable situations, you never get to learn that lesson. And I'm an advocate for that. A lot of individuals will not do something because it feels uncomfortable. But until you overcome that and go through that obstacle or that journey, you're going to learn. There's a lesson to be learned by that, and strength that you're going to gain, and most importantly, confidence.
But I think that's a really good point you brought up too, and same with you, is you prepare. So let's say you're getting ready to take that leap, or you're trying to figure out what is holding you back.
Yes.
Part of that, overcoming it, can be preparation.
Yes.
So preparing for the crappy comments, preparing for somebody's not going to like what I'm doing. How am I going to deal with that when that happens?
Yeah.
Because that helps give me a little heads up.
Yes.
For down the road, okay, I was prepared for this. I thought through this, and it helped me get over my fear.
Well, I think that with preparation, where what could hold us back is not even knowing how to prepare, how to begin. What could be holding us back is, I don't even know what the first step would be, or even how to make this happen. And it seems so daunting of a task
Yes.
It does.
that I don't even try in the first place.
Well, and I think in some of our previous podcasts, like in season 1, we really take things and break it down
Yes.
to the least common denominator as far as business goes, and giving people a guide to start somewhere. And you bring up about the blog or the sock business and all the things that we talked about, and it's some great insight into taking it little by little. And maybe that's a way for folks to overcome whatever their fear or their what might be holding them back in any situation. And it could be a personal relationship. It doesn't just have to be about business.
Right.
I think what you were talking about right now, what holds us back is sort of those fears, the unknown, not knowing where to begin. It's seeming like too much. a great resource is to find someone else that's walked that path or is in a similar situation
Yes.
and ask them, how did you do it? What's it like? When I first was about to get my divorce, I called a girlfriend who had 2 small children who was about a year out of her divorce. And I'm like, well, who else better to ask? Because I didn't know what I didn't know.
Yeah.
And so I called her up and I said, can you just tell me, give me any kind of guide map of what to expect
Sure.
and
Yes.
what steps to take? And that I found has been helpful. Even if you talk to them and discover that what they have to say doesn't directly apply, at least you know that's not the path you're going to go down.
Sure.
And it
Yes.
starts to guide you. I find that whenever a door closes or something doesn't work out, that is just the universe redirecting us to the right information or where we need to be.
Absolutely.
Another thing that holds us back is being being comfortable. It's convenient
yes,
for us.
that's a good one. Yeah.
That held me back for a very long time before my divorce because I was comfortable, I was convenient,
Yeah.
and it was like, I don't want to deal with anything else. I know I'm dealing with this, and that's it. But I can tell you on the other side of things, I feel so liberated. I feel so free. But the thought of it, of getting out of that convenience and that comfort zone,
Yes.
it held me back.
Yeah.
It was like, I've been doing this for so long. It'll work out. It is what it is.
And I think a lot of people feel like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's that phrase that it's the devil that you know better than the devil that you don't know.
Right.
Yes.
And it's, I'm already here. I'm already staying. This is what I know. At least I know what to expect. And really, what could be holding people back is assuming there's nothing else better.
Yeah. And in going a little deeper with that, sometimes it is a family member or a spouse or a partner who really does not want to see you grow
Oh. you
and
touched on
doesn't
something.
want to see you get any bigger or better. So they like you in that box rather than allowing you to spread your wings. And so how do you overcome a person or especially a close person, even a friend who is holding you back by the tailcoat and saying, don't go?
Well, and what's so interesting, and that could be a family member too. So, look at dynamics, depending on where you are in your family, birth order, for example. That you're used to being in this role, this position. This is where you belong. A little bit under so and so's thumb. Don't get too loud. This is your nice little spot. And what could be holding you back is shaking up and disrupting what's worked for 10, 15, 20, 30 years, that I'm supposed to be this kind of person. That's my role that I have. And what could be holding us back is that catering to other people too much.
Yeah.
And
You made a great point because it states biblically that the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And a lot of times that transition doesn't happen or people don't understand it. And for me, I am the youngest. I'm the baby. And it is the first step is in coming to terms with the fact that that family member really is not your champion. That is the hardest thing to come to terms with because you've put so much faith and love and trust in this person over the years that you struggle with trying to come to terms with this person really isn't a champion for me. It's not rooting for me. And once you get to that point and you have to find that strength and that energy, redefine that relationship as much as you possibly can, mourn it and move on.
Not that I disagree with you totally, but I think sometimes even if the person who loves us doesn't mean to hold us back,
Right.
they just don't want their world to change in the way
Good
we
point.
are in it.
Good point.
So it's not that I don't want you to win and do well.
no, do well, but
Don't change my world with you in it.
because if you change and grow and evolve and make things different,
it's
that's
going to affect me.
It's sort of like when the matriarch of the family is upset about a divorce within her children, because that's going to disrupt the ranks. What will happen at Thanksgiving now?
Right.
Yes.
Because it's not that she doesn't want her children to be happy. It's more about their fear of, what is this going to mean for me now and what I'm used to.
Exactly. And then their life may change if you go off and do something different or you go off and do something for yourself. And it's a selfish trait that we all have in some way, but it's just, can you manage it to get this person to understand, I need to do this for me. It's not that I don't love you.
So this is, okay, what you said is exactly what holds people back, because I want her to understand before I do it. But really, we all know, you're nodding, that you can't wait for them to understand, because then what, you are now still trapped. They're holding you back still, that you still have to proceed even when you've done your due diligence and best you can to help them understand that they may not, and they may not like it, and they may not want to hear it. And so you still have to proceed for yourself.
And I think that's part of preparation, because if you know you're dealing with a family member or someone who is not crazy about you spreading your wings in whatever it is that you want to do, part of your preparation is having that open, honest communication and trying to at least say, okay, I need you in the frame of mind to hear what I'm saying. You may not agree, but I need to get this point across to you. So that could be part of your preparation before you take this big step or before you do this thing, whatever it is that you're being called to do.
And also giving them assurances that you're not leaving them behind. You're not changing. You're not changing the composition of your relationship.
It doesn't mean you don't love them.
That's right.
It doesn't mean, but you want to do what it is that you're being called to do, or you're striving to do, or you want to do.
And that's when I have to educate family members or friends on what unconditional love looks like. Because unconditional love is something that I'm going to love you and stand for you however you need me. And those words, some people, we really say that, but the action speaks louder than words. When I literally stand there in silence, or I stand there doing whatever you need me to do in that moment, that's what unconditional love is. But
that may not comfort them, because their fear, it doesn't matter how much you tell them you love them and all those things. They struggle with it. It upsets them too much.
Sure. But I think at least you do your part in trying to
you do
prepare.
your due diligence. Yes. In one of my favorite books, The Art of Extreme Self-Care by Cheryl Richardson, that's one of my favorite books. She tells this amazing story about someone who called into her radio show, and she was about to transfer across the country within her company, that her boss had done amazing work to help her land the job, and was just about to move when she realizes that the job is not what she thought it would be, and that this is not a job that she wants at all. And she was so afraid of telling the boss. She was seriously considering taking the job and moving her life across the country just because she was so concerned about disappointing and saying no back to the boss when he had been so gracious and helpful.
Sure.
That what was holding her back from her own success and what she wanted was this huge fear of going, I am going to disappoint you greatly because you did so much work for me. But she was willing to let that be the bigger push than what should be the biggest factor, which is what's right for you.
Right, what's right.
Yeah. And I think if you're about to embark on a business journey or a personal journey or whatever it is that, we may be talking about, what is holding you back, you have to really dig deep as well. Because if you're living for everybody else and you want to just say yes and just, it's just easier, what is it that's really driving you to do whatever it is that you want to do? If you want to go for that promotion, or you want to start that website, or you want to begin your business, or you want to write your book, or whatever it is.
Or you want to get a divorce.
Yes. I got a call the other night, not to interrupt you, but from a friend who is at that point, and she is walking out the door. And
give her my number?
No, I need to. And
give her mine.
What am I doing? I said, what are you doing about what? My life. What am I doing? I'm leaving my house. I'm leaving my family. I'm leaving my husband. And that fear gets real. And y'all know that. I mean, so taking one step and then another, it doesn't have to be the whole road at once. It can be broken down into baby steps.
I've learned it's okay to be selfish. It is okay to have self-care. It is perfectly okay. It's difficult because we are so used to taking care of everyone, just like that phone call you got. What am I doing? I'm leaving this. I'm leaving them. Not one time I'm doing this for myself.
Yeah.
Not one time in that statement did she say that. So it's okay because this is your journey. I had to come to terms with this is my journey, and I have to do the things that if I don't take care of myself first, I am no good to no one around me or who rely on me. So I have to do, like I just did my own Christmas gift to myself. I was being very selfish. And this is the first time I've ever done a Christmas gift to myself. And all the years
It's Christmas
before
all
that,
year round in my world.
no. Well, honestly, all the years before, I am giving money for this. I'm making sure you have that, making sure you have gifts for this one, making sure this one has all these gifts. Thinking about everyone from the mailman to everybody is making sure. And I just sit and I'm okay because I don't look for anything. This was the first time I did something for myself that is long term that's going to help me. And it's okay. I don't feel bad. But it goes back to what that phone call was from your friend. You can talk to her. And this is what I mean by standing for her all the time, every day, all day, until she's ready. So don't judge if she goes back for 6 months. Don't, not that you would. I'm speaking to the masses here. But if someone comes to you and says, I'm upset with my husband and this and this and this, just be a list. Just let them say it, let them vent, and leave. No judgment. So until they're ready, say your piece. Don't tell them this is what I'm telling you as a suggestion. You have to make the final decision, and then that's it. But don't hold them to it. Don't ever be
Right.
like,
Well, and that's
I
why
told you you
say
should have done that. I told you you should have. And I think I'm so grateful for people who were who helped me during my process, and I do the same. I'm not going to hold you accountable and make you do what I expect you to do. It's what you need to do when you're ready to do it.
Well, and I think one of the things that to help people get over whatever it is that's holding them back,
Yeah.
for some people work in little bitty chunks. It's a lot better than looking at the whole thing overall at once. That can be scary and intimidating. If you break it down into little chunks, maybe it's more manageable.
Good
and
point.
it can help you get over that hurdle for whatever your hurdle is.
And being in a toxic relationship,
Oh, that's a
It's
whole nother
difficult.
It's a whole nother
subject.
segment.
but
there.
but toxic could be work related. It could be at work. It could be personal. It could be so that's another thing that holds us back because we're in something that has
has
engulfed
all
us,
of our energy,
has all of our energy,
emotion.
and we don't even have time to think about planning, to think about preparing because you're so consumed with this negativity that you're just in a whirlwind spinning around like a top, just trying to survive, go to sleep, and wake up the next day and deal with it. Yeah.
So being in as out of any unhealthy environment, I think also what can hold us back is not dreaming big enough. That what can be holding us back is not knowing how big can it really go,
Right
Great
here,
one.
you're looking at her. Right here.
Look-
I never thought in a million years we would be, where we are. I dreamed it.
I'm assuming you mean the parade crew,
I
not
do,
our
I'm
podcast.
sorry. I mean Nick's.
Look at us in season 2. It's amazing. Who would have thought?
20,000 downloads.
No, but you're so right. And I did. I said from day one, I'm going to be this big, or I want to be this big, and I worked at it and worked at it and worked
So
at it.
what were those numbers? Were you like, I'm going to be 1,000 women strong? Or did you go in saying, all right, here we go. This is happening. Big as all female. Did you go in with
I
that?
did.
Okay.
I did.
That's
and
amazing.
I also had somebody I wanted to be bigger than. So those were
Right,
my goals
right.
from right away. But I never thought it would happen so quickly. But
That's because their wait
worked-
list was 5 years long.
Well,
so.
not just that. Well, yeah. And I take all factors into consideration, but I worked at it. I never thought small. I still don't. So
Yes.
that kind of goes with what you're saying.
That really is.
Think freaking big. Go big or go home.
That's well. So I think some people. I think there's two sides to it. One, I think people are afraid to think big, and the other part is they don't even realize how big it could be. Like, don't you realize you could be doing this? You're like, what?
So
Who?
you're
Me?
saying it's okay to be a dreamer.
That and you should.
Yeah, but a lot of people.
But you know what that comes from? The reason most people don't is because they don't feel like they deserve it. Why don't you deserve it?
Oh, I don't know, because I didn't, go to all those schools, and I don't know. In my 20s,
who
I did
cares?
this, and well, because everyone around me, and I don't know, my mom and all those classmates on Facebook. Oh, I don't know.
So that's the self-talk that you need to have with yourself. Why not me?
Yeah, and then
Why
all
not
the
me?
things that I just said, you need to just
Negate.
get them out of your mind.
Exactly.
Awesome.
And the bigger you think, there's no the sky's the limit.
I know it's so cliche, but it's so true.
It is so true, and I know
love
you
it.
hate cliches.
I
but
do.
I always have to throw one in there. And I mean, why not you? You deserve everything.
Why
Exactly.
not me?
And there's enough for all of us. Like you said in so many podcasts in season 1, there is enough for all of us
Exactly.
to win, all of us to
Yes.
succeed, all of us to fulfill our dreams.
Yes.
Awesome.
And, we're talking about business and we're talking about life, but there's even women, friends that I know who are still struggling with starting a family.
Oh, wow.
And the fear of taking that next step, whether it's fertility, whether it's
Yes.
adoption, whether it's surrogacy, so many things are available now that maybe weren't in the past that, starting a family is a big decision. Starting
Yes.
a business is a big decision. All the things we kind of just, scheme over in life, it's like, whoa, these are big decisions. So I can understand the fear. And if it's
Apprehension.
a financial situation that's holding you back,
Yeah.
maybe look at different resources and different options.
Talk to people that have been there. Talk to someone that's on the successful side of the story that's gone through it.
And I think that's part of preparation
Yes, I
and
love it. I
preparing.
dig it.
Yeah.
And I really like what you said about being ready for the backlash or the not so nice letter or the
Yes.
not so nice
Bring it.
Instagram
Coming.
comments.
Bring it.
You know
Listen,
what? So what?
I tell you this all the time, Julie. If you weren't doing something great, if you weren't at the top, they wouldn't be coming for you. Who cares? Who's,
I leveraged that to do a Facebook Live. So I took the letter, and I didn't reveal the person's name, but I leveraged that to educate the people on my Facebook business page about, one, understanding what women face, and then what should they do if they have to come across somebody who's telling them you need to have a seat.
Yeah.
I have to say this. Another thing that holds individuals back is jealousy of someone else. Because they're so interested in what you're doing or not doing or what have you, and not focusing on themselves and what they want to accomplish, and feeling, well, this person has that, has this, has this. Just stop for a moment.
Yeah.
Stop for a moment.
That's a whole nother topic we can do one day about jealousy.
Yeah, because
Yes.
it's true. That holds
Can
you
our intro
back.
music be that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, there I right.
Well, thank y'all so much. I think we have given our listeners some great options of how to overcome what could be holding them back. And hopefully everybody is ready to take that next leap in their life, whatever it may be.
Let us
We're here
know.
to support you
Keep us posted.
and
Yes.
support each other.
Thank y'all for another great episode of
Yay.
the Purge Chronicles Season 2. Woohoo!
Nothing holding us back.
Not
No,
not our
no.
moms.
Not afraid.
anything.
Out of rock and roll.
We're not afraid of much.
No,
No.
we're not.
That's
No
so funny.
way.
I have that written down in a marketing piece.
That's good.
There's not much I'm afraid of.